Hi, I'm Cameron McKenzie. I'm the editor-in-chief over at the serverside.com, and I wanted to talk to you about using Notepad as the default editor in Git. As you well know, if you have a Git repository, I've got one called 5 commands here, and I'm going to open up my Git bash. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to add it to the staging area, and the thought I had earlier was, as you know, if you do a git commit right now, well, all of a sudden you end up in a world of hurt here where the VI or the Vim editor comes up and asks for changes. I'm just going to kill that window. What I want to do is I want to use Notepad Plus Plus as my editor. So how do I do that? Well, it's as simple as issuing just a git config command. And the git config command, well, it looks something like this. I'm going to paste it in and read it out to you. It's git config global. You can do system or local if you want. Change the core setting for the editor and specifically turn it into, well, point to Notepad++. Now, by the way, that might be x86 if you're on a 64-bit machine right here, program files x86. Make sure this is pointing to your Notepad installation. And there's a couple of switches that I've often seen suggested for this. So multi-instance, no tab bar, no session, and no plugin. I'm going to click enter there. And what this means is that a new session will come up of Notepad when you try and do a commit, and it won't load any plugins, and it won't load your previous session when it brings up Notepad. And so you saw I couldn't do the commit earlier. I'm going to do a git commit. I'm not going to type anything in, and watch what happens now. All of a sudden, Notepad comes up, and you also see I've already got Notepad Plus opened up. And if you're familiar with Notepad Plus Plus, you would know that, well, typically new tabs are just committed each time Notepad pops up. This time it's created a brand new instance. Now right here it wants me to type in a message. Just type in something silly like that. I then close the editor. It says, do you want to save this to commit edit message? And I say, yeah. And it commits it, and all of a sudden my commit is now done inside a Git. And there it is. My Notepad++ editor is working when I do a git ref log. And so you have to just click save when you close the window. When you close the window, the commit goes in. But now all of a sudden you're using Notepad++ or whatever text editor you want instead of VI or Emacs or whatever your default may have already been. Now just so you know, here's the git config file. That's the configuration file at the global level, and you'll notice that this is the addition that goes in: core, editor equals, and then pointing to the exe file of the editor of your choice, and that's pointing to Notepad++. Again, make sure it's program files or program files x86 if you're on a 64-bit machine. And again, these switches, you might want to put those in as well. If there's a problem, sometimes I've seen people put double quotes around all of that entry in its entirety there so that everything is understood. And I've also seen double slashes going in where I have single slashes here. So those are a couple of options just in case you end up with some trouble. But as you saw, that all worked. Notepad++ came up, and hey, now I can edit my commit messages using a nice text editor that I feel comfortable with.